Every episode of No Offsides podcast is brought to you by Champion Hockey. Be a champion. This episode is also brought to you by US Roller Cup, a revolution in roller. Check out all of these USRC tournaments. How about Kapolei, Hawaii, February 14th to the 17th, 2025? You can play in Stoughton, Wisconsin, August 10th through 11th. Or you can play in Snellville, Georgia, September 7th and 8th. Get out there and join a revolution in roller.
No offside. Welcome back for another episode of No Offsides, sponsored by Champion Hockey. I'm Dan Dean here with my partner Justin Wood.
What's up?
Our guest today is multi-talented. He's a musician, but more importantly, a professional hockey player on ice and roller. We want to welcome Chucky Slick. How's it going, man?
How's it going, boys? Thanks for having me.
Man, we're pumped to have you, especially after you making some headlines at Narch.
Yeah, man. It's a fun tournament.
It worked out. It worked out that you had games on Thursday, and then we pushed it back today, so we could talk about Narch and everything like that. So it was meant to be.
But yeah, exactly. It was meant to be. I mean, this was like 6 months in the planning, I feel like.
Yeah, 6 months in planning, and then about 2 weeks of me forgetting to send you a message.
Yeah. It's all good, boys.
Well, man, sometimes we get right into what you got going on now, but I kind of wanted to start this one talking about how you came up, everything you did to get going. How old were you when you started playing hockey, man?
All right, so I was 3 years old, and I was playing on a concrete slab here in a park about 10 minutes north of Mexico, and there was no boards, and the nets were not even hockey nets. They were just like a metal fence, like a cage fence, and it was just like a straight line, so you just had to hit the fence. It wasn't even like, didn't have any angles, just a straight piece of fence. Played on that for like 2 years, and then joined like a local league here in San Diego, and played in the local house league for a year or two, and then I ended up joining the San Diego Hosers like travel club and started entering into like all the Narches since I was like 8 years old.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
It's like a Mighty Ducks story.
I feel like that's every player's story that grew up in Southern California. We all started because of either that movie or Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
Was that one of your big?
What's up?
Go ahead.
I was just saying, like, whether you knew it or not, maybe you started because all your friends were playing street hockey and stuff, but your friends were playing street hockey because of the Mighty Ducks movies, or the older generation was because of Wayne Gretzky. He really like started a huge street hockey phenomenon in California, and then the Ducks movies like just made it way crazier.
Definitely. And you guys even had Gretzky out there. He'd go out and do some kind of events, right? Get kids going.
He actually had some roller hockey rinks called the Gretzky Centers. I think there was like 2 or 3 of them here in SoCal.
That's awesome. That really helps out getting the game
Maybe
going.
there was only one. I don't remember.
Yeah, I started with street hockey as well.
Yeah, who didn't, right?
Street.
Yeah. Everyone starts. You guys started at a pretty young age too?
I actually didn't. I didn't start till I was like 10.
Damn.
I was 5.
All right.
I started at 10, and then I was like, what the hell? How have I been missing out on this?
What were we doing before that? Like T-ball and stuff?
Soccer and baseball.
Soccer, baseball, classics.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. My parents being like, I don't really want to pay for that equipment.
Yeah, understandable.
But you also got going at a young age, being able to play for Team USA, right?
The roller hockey team.
Yep.
Yeah, in 2015, I went to Argentina. So I was 23.
Okay.
That's sweet.
Went to Argentina and then went to Italy the year after that.
The Argentina one, you played with your younger brother, right?
Yeah, my brother Eric was there. Yeah, that was a really fun tournament. Really sick location, man.
Tell me about that.
It was in a town called Rosario, and it's like the hometown of Lionel Messi, and just everything you'd expect from Argentina, like just flags everywhere, like really passionate people. You could just tell just by walking around how much they loved soccer, and just all the bars were decorated with Messi and soccer stuff, and the arena was like just in the middle of the city, and it looked like a kind of like almost like a coliseum, kind of just stone thing from the outside. All the seating in there was just like old stone, and people could just pour in from the street and watch games. And yeah, it was really fun. We ended up playing against Argentina one game, and they packed the whole fucking place. It was like 3,000 to 5,000 people there, just
That's
crazy art. We couldn't even you could not hear yourself think during that game. Classic. They score the first goal and they blow the roof off the place. And we're like sitting on our bench, like, what the fuck is going on? And they just had that momentum, and we almost lost. We ended up winning like 2-1, but yeah, it was really fun. They play with a lot of passion down there.
I believe it.
Well, it's got to be something special to like play with your brother at such a high level too. Being able to play for both of you play for your country at the same time.
Yeah, that was a blessing. It was a really fun time. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, like me and Dan both get to play with our brothers. Dan was just playing with his brother at this last tournament.
Yeah. Except like me and my brother are 6 years apart, so like being able to play with each other is never really a thing up until obviously now, like traveling and going roller tournaments. So
he doesn't get as excited about playing with his brother as maybe you and I might.
Hey, it's okay.
It has its ups and downs.
Yeah, I love playing with my bros.
You got multiple?
I have 3 brothers, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
And so there's 4 of us. 3 of us have played Narch Pro for the last 10 years. Well, I took a break for the last 5 years, and my other brother he's everywhere as well. Like he's just he lives in Africa now and shit. So he's kind of been here and there, but from 2013 to 2018, us 3 were on the same Narch Pro team every year. So that was always really fun.
Hell yeah.
Who'd you guys usually play for?
The San Diego Hosers,
Okay.
this team.
Gotcha.
Maybe it was called Maven Hosers, Maven, anything like that. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, just a local San Diego team full of boys that, it's actually the oldest club in pro roller hockey. Hey. They started Darren Goodwin. You're familiar with Darren, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He played for the Hosers growing up. They had been a pro team since like I want to say very early 90s. And they've been at all the Narches, all of that forever. And they just carried on the tradition until I was a kid, and I played for them growing up. My Hosers team, we had John Parker, Buffalo Sabres draft pick, CJ Ruedel, Pittsburgh Penguins Stanley Cup champ, JT Osborne. We had a stacked little team of San Diego kids. We've always had so much talent in San Diego. And then the Hosers folded for like 10 years. And then when I was like 21, they like they restarted the club again. And that was when me and my brothers all joined and whatnot. And just like a classic team of like hometown kids, kind of like a Black Ice vibe where they're like all New Yorkers and they all kind of live around that rink, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 guys. We were kind of always like very proud on being like a team that all lives within 20 minutes of our rink. And yeah.
I think that's sweet because a lot of pro teams are mashups of people from all over the place. But when you have that kind of hometown kind of camaraderie, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's fun playing with your boys, especially with most of them you grew up playing together, so you got some chemistry. You get to spend the weekends at the tournaments together. For me, it's always something more like admirable to play with your hometown team. And of course, over the years, I had, some big teams like invite me to come play with them. And I just basically told them all to fuck off over the years. Like, just wanted to play with my boys, knowing like we're not going to win Narch Pro, but, just going there with the boys to play was always a good time. Now that we're not a team anymore, I'm just completely open to play for whoever now. But back in the day, I was like super loyal to the soil.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I like
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
So, you just played Narch, right? You just got invited,
Correct.
and I'm assuming you got invited to play for the Pama Golden Knights academy team.
Correct.
And so, so it was funny because we talked about it, right, a little bit. We mentioned it, I guess. You kind of highlight at Narch this weekend. And I was looking at stats because, as Justin knows, and our viewers that watch us all the time know, I'm a big stat guy. I come across and I'm like, oh shit, like Kyle Mooney has like, what was it, 13 goals, 12 goals? Oh, Kevin Mooney, I'm sorry. And so then I'm like, oh, let me just check out stats, like who's leading. He's got to be leading. And it just so happened your game just ended when you had 8 goals. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, how does someone have 14 goals? And then I just see all the highlights blowing up of you having an 8-goal game at Narch Pro. And I was like, what the hell just happened?
So what did happen?
Well, what had happened was Kevin Mooney, if you don't know, I play with him in Spain. We've been teammates and roommates for 3 years. Last year was the first year we both got our own places, but yeah, one of my boys, great guy. So we're so used to playing together. This is my first time on like being on a different team than him. And so I watched his game against the Canadian team, Pure Maple, and the guy put up 6 goals. And I was pissed. I was like, hell nah. Because I had the Canadian team the next game, and I was just like, I told Kevin after the game, I said, I'm not going to let that slide, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just had some motivation to go off that game because, come on, he got a double hat trick. That's pretty sick. And in my opinion, he's one of the best players in the world. So I had to, I just had a little bit of extra chip on my shoulder that game, and it worked out for me, I guess.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's got to be, I mean, I don't know all the stats from over the years, but that's got to be one of the highest goals per guy in a game for Narch.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to, but I don't think I've ever seen someone score maybe more than 5 or 6.
Yeah, so, I mean, roller hockey, there's no way to really find out. I mean, I guess your best bet is just straight up asking Darren, and
yeah.
he might know.
I would
It'd be pretty nice though to be able to put your name up in lights a little bit as most goals for a guy.
Yeah, I guess it's whatever.
I mean, you look at it right, and you go, because I don't know. I don't know. I haven't, rosters haven't been released yet, but where are you going to Pama?
Am I going to play for Palma in the future?
Well, I mean, are you going to the Pama State Wars?
Oh, you mean the Palma Pro like State Wars tournament?
Yeah.
So I wasn't planning on it, but after this weekend at Narch, I got approached by various teams to hop on their squad. So I got some pretty good offers. Today I've been kind of talking to all of them, just kind of seeing like what's the deal, because some teams are willing to cover flights and hotels. Some teams are willing to cover one thing and not the other. Some teams maybe are covering everything. Like one team that offered me, they're covering everything, but they have like 12 players on the roster already. And I was like, I'm not saying I'm going to be the 13th guy. I'm sure I'll fit into the lineup, but that means like some guy that I don't even know, like is probably getting the boot or just gets benched. And I was like, I don't want to be that guy. So it's like every team has its things, and I'm spending the whole day today kind of talking to them and just seeing what's the best fit, and then probably going to pull the trigger on picking someone by tonight. So I think I'm going to go to State Wars. Not 100% yet, but going to Narch this weekend kind of like got me excited about hockey in the States again.
Yeah.
Because I haven't played Narch since 2018 or any roller hockey in the States for that matter. So yeah, I kind of missed it. I missed seeing all the boys and the old faces there, and I just fuck it, why not? Let's do State Wars.
Hell yeah.
Hey, got the adrenaline going. You got the itch back.
Yeah, exactly. Usually I don't play because I'm just burnt out from the season overseas, and I need to rest my legs.
Yeah, because you've been over in Spain dominating.
Yeah, we've been doing well out there, and season's 9 months long. We practice 5 days a week. We have games on the weekend, so 6 skates a week for 9 months straight. It takes a toll on your body for sure. So, when I come home in the summer, usually hockey is the last thing I'm thinking about or wanting to do. But yeah, after this weekend, I realized I fucking missed it.
Hell yeah.
Well, we're glad you're back.
Yeah, thanks for having me back, boys.
Yeah, man. Well, let's talk about Club Molina Sport.
Let's do it.
You guys won championship this year, last year, and the year before.
Yeah, every year we've won a couple. So the way it works in Spain is there's 4 cups. I know it's hard to fucking comprehend kind of because the way that American sports are set up, it's a league, and then at the end of the year there's playoffs and there's 1 cup. Even though I'm pretty sure, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the NBA, I think they did like a mid-season tournament this year, right?
Yeah.
You guys hear about that?
It's either mid-season or they start. I think they start off the season with a tournament.
Or maybe it was that, but they did like a little cup in
Yeah.
the middle of the season, trying to emulate a European sports system because these little cups, it brings like added hype to the middle of a kind of not a dead season, but the mundane everyday. When you throw in like a random little cup and you surround it with some kind of atmosphere of importance and energy, brings in a lot of money for clubs. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if we see that more. And it's something like the Winter Classic in the NHL, right?
Yeah.
It's something in the middle of the season that brings hype in the middle of the year, lots of money. So they do this in Europe. And in Spain, we have 4 cups. The Supercopa, which is the cup to start the season. And it's literally a battle of the 2 champions from the year before.
That's cool.
So you play like 1 game and you win like a cup. That one's like the least impressive of the cups and the least hype, but it's a cup. The second cup is the Copa del Rey, which is arguably the biggest in Spain. It stands for the King's Cup, and they've been doing it in Spain for hundreds of years for like the royal family, the king and the queen. They do it in every sport, and in soccer, obviously the King's Cup is huge.
Yeah.
And it's nationally televised, even the roller hockey thing. It's a really big deal in Spain, and sometimes it feels bigger than the actual league. After that, you have the Copa del Rey, which is the European Cup, and then the league finals. So there's 4 cups, and this year with Molina, we won all 4, which was pretty historical.
That's sick.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever been done before, so it was a really, really good season for the boys.
Now the Copa del Rey is the one that's where the multiple European leagues get involved, right?
No, that's the Copa Europa.
Copa Europa.
That's the European Cup, which that's what it translates to, but that's the one that's in a different European country every year, and then like the top 2 teams from each country that want to go. Obviously, some teams back out at last minute because of money issues or whatever, but yeah, it's just like the Champions League in soccer. It's a battle of all the top teams from Europe.
Is that every year, or is that every so often?
It's supposed to be every year, but there's been, in my 8 years in the league, there's been 2 times where it didn't happen because of financial reasons.
Gotcha.
It's one of those things where like whoever's hosting it has to like buy it or like pay for it. So it's like every year no club wants to be the host because that means they have to pay for it, and they're not sure if they're able to get their money back through the snack bar and the beer and the ticket sales. Like you're not guaranteed to make your money back, and it's really expensive. I don't remember the exact price, but it's like 20 or 30 grand fee just to host it.
Damn.
And so we've had some years where teams are like, the deadline's like the tournament's a month away and we still don't even know where it's going to be yet because no one has agreed to have the tournament. Like last year we flew to Czech Republic. We didn't, and the tournament was in April, and we didn't know we were going to Czech until like March.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
that's crazy that you have to like sponsor it or buy your way in that way. Who are they paying?
there's the federation, the basically the dudes that started the European Cup. You know, they just kind of got this monopoly, and they're the only ones doing it in Europe, and they've been doing it for 20 years, and I'm pretty sure like no one else is allowed to like branch off and start their own thing. I don't know, but it's like these two dudes, and it's not, I don't think it's run very well. I think they kind of do the least.
Yeah.
And like this year we won and we didn't even get like medals. Like it was just like they just gave us the cup and they're like, all right, fuck off. It was like
Oh, no.
there's just like a lot of like disorganization and stuff, but it's still cool because all the top teams from Europe are there. But I think the guys that run it just want money. So that's why that fee is like so expensive.
They got yacht payments to make or something.
I don't know, man. They're just guys that care more about money than the sport.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
And roller hockey is not the sport that needs that kind of energy. I'll tell you that right now.
No.
Agreed.
We need more people that care about the sport.
Yeah.
than the money.
So you're playing in Spain, right? And I know like France is like all in on roller hockey. Like they're like sponsor the sport and everything like that, and do days in their country where they close down streets in I think Paris and let people skate around the town and stuff like that. I mean, is like the Spanish government involved in the Spanish league, or is it like privately funded?
Yeah, absolutely. The government in Spain is single-handedly funds most of the league.
Okay.
Every team, most of their operations are run on the government money. The cool thing about Spain is the government gives a lot of money to sports, whereas in America, all sports are private. You know, you start your own private clubs, and it's you pay your parents when you're a kid pay the fee for the season, and that's how it's run. Whereas in Spain, it's from the government, and the government supports sports a lot in Spain. And depending on the community, it's more or less money. So, for example, in the Canary Islands where me and Kevin play, it's the poor part of Spain. It's the worst economy in Spain. The kids are more likely to get involved in street life. So the government of Spain pours more money into things like sports in the Canary Islands to kind of encourage kids to get involved in sports and get on the right path, blah, blah, blah. So that's why our team in the Canary Islands, we have the most money in Spain, and that's why they're able to attract players like Kevin Mooney and attract the top players, the Spanish players from other parts of Spain. And it's all government money. I mean, we don't charge money for tickets for our games. We don't sell stuff at our games. But the government gives him a budget of about, I don't know, you never know. But we've heard little rumors here and there. It's around 800 grand to $1 million operation. I mean, you're buying hotels, paying players. We're flying to every single game. It's really
awesome.
expensive to run. And the more you win, the more the government you can get more money. Every year our president goes to the government and says, hey, look at these cups we just won. We're doing good for the community. We're asking for 200 grand more, because the more money means the more better players you can sign. And sometimes to keep your star players happy, they start asking for more money, so he needs more. And the government's really supportive in Spain.
That's awesome.
So you were talking about with the Hosers wanting to kind of you have like that hometown feel that like I want to represent my hometown, right?
Correct.
Now being with this team and knowing how much winning and doing well with this team can help the community, do you almost feel like a revitalized sense of that, like this is your second home?
That's a good question, man. I feel great there. Feels like my second home. Absolutely. Got a lot of good friends off the rink as well. And there's youth clubs there that part of our contracts, as most players in Europe have to do. You have to coach, the youth teams and stuff, and run their practices and whatnot. So all the players in our team kind of rotate weekly running practices, and it's cool, man. They all show up to our games. You got like a couple hundred local Canary Islands Spanish kids and their brothers and sisters and mothers, and the whole community just kind of shows out for our games. Nothing crazy, obviously, but a couple hundred people showing up to watch a sport that people aren't really aware of.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I mean, you could probably compare it to watching kind of like pro playoff games, right? In like Narch, Pamo, or Tours, where everyone just kind of piles in because those are the most important games, right?
Exactly.
Whereas like your season's important every game because you're kind of playing for your city. So it's kind of that's the interesting part about European roller is like one support of the government, right? They want the sport to be successful, right? They don't want it to be like half-assed running it. And two, there are like guys like you, right, that just go over there, play for the season, and then do their thing, and you don't see them in North America because they're pouring their heart and soul out in Europe, which is awesome. It's nice to see that more North Americans are going out to Europe to play professionally instead of kind of just playing a men's league and then just you get three big tournaments. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
there's been a lot of North Americans coming over in the past, especially since COVID.
Were you over there during 2020, 2021?
Yeah. I've been over there since 2017, Spain specifically. Before that, I was playing ice hockey in other parts of Europe, but since 2017, I've been in Spain, and up until 2020, there was I think in 2018, the older DiMartino brother was playing for the team in Barcelona for one season. And there was one or two more Americans around Spain and then a couple in France. But since COVID and since, in the past 5-6 years, social media has really, became just exploded, I guess. And people are starting to see that. When I first came over here, teams didn't even have Instagrams,
Yeah.
They had Facebooks, but
yeah.
if you're not friends with them on Facebook, you're never going to see their content. Where nowadays you can just come across a reel and you're like, oh, what is that? Oh, that's some French team. Like, oh, that looks cool. And I can just message them. It's a lot more accessible. And I think just with people sharing stuff on social media, a lot of North Americans are starting to get more interested in going overseas and playing. It's pretty cool to see.
How familiar are you with Paiha?
I'm not really familiar with it at all. I know it's a tournament that when I lived in Virginia, maybe I played in one or two of them. I don't know if it's a league or a tournament, but I know some of my Virginia boys, I've seen them mention it before, but I'm not sure what it is exactly.
So it's, Dan, you can kind of pick me up where I'm wrong here, but it's kind of an attempt at what's going on in Europe, but here in the States, where the teams are a little bit more condensed to their geographical location. And they play the season year round and then have, their playoffs and their championship, their nationals at the end of the season. And I guess where I'm going with this is, do you think that the United States kind of should try focusing on that with roller and developing teams in that way versus kind of how the pro circuit is now?
Man, that's the $1 million question. Really good question, and I don't have the answer to that. Honestly, obviously the biggest challenge that we face, right, is the geography of this country. And uniting an entire country for a sport that's severely underfunded seems like a task that's just really hard to conquer. I feel like it could be successful in regional areas, I think they've tried stuff like that where, what league was it? The AIHL.
Mm-hmm.
They had the Southwest region, which was Vegas, Arizona, Southern California, and then they had the Northwest, and then they had the Michigan. And then I'm pretty sure the winners of all those regions met in New York for nationals and played against whatever the New York team was. It might have been Black Ice. That's probably the best way to do it if you wanted to do like a countrywide league. Like, there's no way with roller hockey money can you be traveling to New York on the weekend to play hockey and then the next weekend going to North Carolina. It's like
Yeah.
the best way to do it, I think, is to play regionally. You know, Southwest, Midwest, Northeast, Southeast, and then like have all the champions meet up in St. Louis, like in the center of the country. I just don't feel like there's enough money in roller to do like a pro nationwide league where you're just kind of traveling everywhere. Would be cool though.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what they do. They have it's like a Colorado division, so they play out of like the four major rinks in Colorado. And there's I think 4 pro teams are there, and then it's a 3-tiered league. It's pro, semi-pro, minor, and then New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, maybe Connecticut. They have that's like a bigger region for teams, and so they have there might be 6 to 8 pro teams, but it's also like a lot of the black ice guys and roadrunners guys kind of split off onto different teams, and so I think it's usually once a month they come in and they play like a round robin. They play like 4 to 5 games on a weekend, and then they go home, and then the next month they'll come back and they'll do another round robin. So they'll get about 15 to 20 games in a season. And then they'll do playoffs. And then like this year it was in Colorado Springs. They did nationals for the top
Damn.
2 or 4 teams for pro, I think it was.
I didn't even know Colorado got down like that.
Colorado Springs rink is sick. It's ran by Yoders.
Wow.
Yeah, they're the ones behind all of Paiha.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was like an East Coast thing for some reason.
I mean, it's where hockey is.
Yeah.
East Coast is kind of like the hotbed for roller.
Whoa.
Well, after you guys.
Yeah, it's SoCal.
I'm not saying it's one or the other, but there's 2 hotbeds, all right?
Yeah, I mean, there's SoCal, there's the Northeast, and then St. Louis is kind of kicking up the dust and kind of coming up. Florida was there for a while, and then Florida died.
It's always been like New York and SoCal, and then there's like sprinkles like St. Louis, and then Detroit, Colorado, and then Florida has a little roller scene as well.
Yeah.
And I mean like pro roller scenes, of course you can go to fucking Kentucky and find a local roller league, but
no. So
right. Yeah. So Chucky.
I'm sorry, I loved his face on that when he was like, well, what the fuck? You're right though. California is just as big, if not bigger.
I mean, yeah, dude, ice is so fucking expensive out here compared to out there. So it's like the difference between California roller kids, most of the New York roller kids, they still play ice or they grew up playing ice, where there's so many kids in California that never fucking stepped on ice in their life. Because it's just roller's much more accessible out here and a lot cheaper. The fucking fees for ice hockey out here is insane just to keep these rinks cold and stuff.
It's got to be.
That's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
I can imagine because and I see what you're saying too, because like California is just more expensive than almost every other state, right? So, you're
a wee bit hotter than New York.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just also a cultural thing too. I mean, ice hockey didn't even like really become a thing in California until like the late 90s. Like nowadays, it's normal to see California kids committing to D1. There's a couple California guys in the show. Thatcher Demko, he's from San Diego. It's a little more seen these days, but it still does not compare to the level of ice that you guys have on the East Coast or in the Midwest. It's like not only is it not as accessible, it's just not culturally. Roller is just so huge out here.
I also think you probably spend more time in traffic than you do on the ice.
Yeah, if you live in fucking crusty, dusty ass Los Angeles, fuck LA.
So
I've
that
only
brings
been
me.
once, and I don't like it.
Terrible place.
That brings me to my next point. Right, is you did get into ice hockey because you had a professional career in ice hockey before roller, right?
Yeah,
So
kind of.
I mean, you played in the NOL, the North American Hockey League. You had a short stint in the SPHL, right? So I mean, you still played professional. So,
Yeah.
but but so the guys I played with this weekend, they wanted to know if you have any crazy stories, like fight stories or anything from the NAHL.
Well, okay, yeah. So the NA back when I was playing was a fucking, you know, junior A, really good league. You know, every team, first line and even second, some guys in the second line. Every team was committing a bunch of guys to D1. You know, 3 or 4 guys were committing players to D1 colleges. A really good league. I'm not going to speak on how it is today because I have no idea, but there was 5 divisions, and I played in the South Division. You know, where it's Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Kansas. This south central part of the United States was a division, and the nickname of the division was the Black and Blue Division because it was an absolute goon show. We had the best fans in the league by far because all the other teams were in fucking Ohio, Michigan, places that have real hockey markets like D1 ice hockey, AHL, ECHL, NHL, where no one really cares about tier 2 junior ice hockey, right? You got a couple hundred fans. In the South, what happened was, since there's no NHL teams down there besides the Dallas Stars, right? You don't got anyone in Kansas, Oklahoma, the entire state of Texas besides one city, New Mexico, nothing. So there's all these like big cities, right? You know, you got Houston and Austin and Albuquerque and Topeka with no hockey. So the South Division was essentially a bunch of minor pro teams that folded and used the same, got bought out by their junior teams, but used the same names. And the fans down south who don't have a damn clue about hockey, the majority of them, they didn't know the difference between pros and juniors. So they kept showing out to the games. And most of the teams are actually pretty much every team in the NA South. We played in arenas. Like we didn't play in ice rinks. We played in arenas, and average attendance was anywhere between 3,000 and 8,000 to 9,000. My rink in Corpus Christi, we were averaging 5,000 to 7,000 fans a night. You know,
that's a sweet rink too.
Yeah, the American Bank Center. It's a huge rink. They do Harley Davidson nights where we wear fucking flame jerseys and fools come out on the ice with motorcycles. We did cancer night, you know, paint the ice pink, military night. There's a whole show down there, and you're known in the town. Like people would come up to us at the bars or restaurants, and be, hey, do you play for the Ice Rays? And we're like, yeah, I play for the Ice Rays. And it's like you're kind of like a big deal in town. They're like, how do I tell them we're not pros? We're just like 19, you know. But man, that league and that division specifically was really fun because down there the fans are there for majority reason is to see a fight. They love seeing the fights because that's how hockey fans who aren't true hockey heads are, right? So our division, there was just tons of fighting. I mean, I'm talking 3 fights a game minimum all the time in a 60-game season. My roommate Michael Economos. This guy was just the heavyweight on our team, and the guy was dropping the gloves every night. And it was just dude, I don't know. And he'd come home and his hands would be shaking, his knuckles would be all busted up, and then he'd have to go back and do it again the next night. And he was a first liner, just to put in perspective how fucking insane this league was. Yeah, I mean, you're guaranteed losing a tooth, breaking a nose, getting 10 to 20 stitches in your face every season. It was fucking violent. If we didn't fight, I remember one time our GM, who never comes into the locker room in Corpus Christi, he comes down from his GM press box, comes in the locker room in the third period, and just like, who's fucking going? We got a packed barn out there tonight, and none of you pussies have dropped the gloves. Who's going? And I was just like, holy shit. I'll never forget my first game, my very first game in the null, the very home opener, right at the home opening, my very first puck drop. Puck drops, 2 guys fight. Go to the box. Second face-off. Puck drops, 2 guys fight. We haven't played any hockey yet. Third face-off. Puck drop, 2 guys fight. There's 3 fights in a row. And now my assistant coach, who later became my agent, who got me to Europe, he's just yelling down the bench going, "We're going down the whole fucking line. Who's going next?" we haven't even played hockey yet, right? It was just 3 fights in a row, but that was it. No one went after that. So really crazy league. I would say, I mean, the best fight story personally I have was fighting my buddy Matt Robinson. There's a video that got a lot of views on YouTube. It got Fight of the Year on dropyourgloves.com.
Hey,
he was my buddy, and he got traded to another team before the deadline, and his team was coming to our barn, and it was both of our last games of juniors because we both were not making the playoffs, and it was the last game of the 3-game series, last game of both of our junior careers. Texted him before the game, and I was like, "Buddy, do you want to go?" And he was just like, I was like, it's the last game of the season. It's going to be a packed house, 5,000 people there. It'll be fucking legendary. He was like, "Let's do it." And then I saw him in the warm-ups before the game, and I was like, "All right, man, whatever you do, just don't break my nose and I won't break yours. Just try to avoid nose shots." And yeah, we threw down. You could see it on YouTube. It was like a really long fight, like 30 seconds. No blocking, just rock 'em, sock 'em, robots.
Nice.
And he fucking broke my nose, and I broke his.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we're both in the box smiling at each other, just covered in blood. And then the next morning, before his team took off, we met up at the beach in Corpus Christi for a beer, and both just looked like raccoons, and it was a cherry on top for a junior career in the null.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's probably why they wanted me to ask you that question, because I guess they had some insight in the null.
Yeah, it's kind of a legendary league.
Nice.
I mean, I take it you probably don't miss that style of hockey anymore, huh?
Hell no.
Yeah.
That shit's crazy. I can't believe I even did that.
Now, is there ever any fights in European roller hockey? No.
Nah, I mean, if there is a fight, you're looking at like a 5-game suspension.
Oh, okay.
Not worth it when the season's only 20 games.
Yeah.
I've seen like one time, one guy on our team put another guy in a headlock, and he got a 4-game suspension.
Oh, geez.
Oh, damn.
2 years ago, our captain, one of our players got like just dummied from behind. Our captain just skated in and just punched this guy just once in his face, and he got like 5 games just for one punch.
Wow.
So it's very rare to see fighting, which is really fucking annoying because I absolutely think there should be fighting in not just Spain, but all roller hockey. Because one of the problems, in my opinion, with roller hockey is there's too many fucking rats out there that are okay with playing dirty and they're used to it. They're accustomed to getting away with it. They're accustomed to playing like little rats without consequences because they know it's roller hockey and no one's going to fight them because no one wants to get kicked out of the game. Whereas as violent as the NA was, in some ways, I know it's going to sound crazy and it's actually probably not true, but in a weird way, I did feel safer knowing that I had guys on the ice with me that they scared the other team to not fuck with me, to not fuck with forwards. And we had big guys out there that were the enforcers. But especially in Spain, bro, there's like so many players in that league that just do little cup checks and little things that are annoying, and they know that at least here in Narch, you can cross-check someone after the play and talk your shit and put them in a headlock and throw a couple punches, and maybe you just go to the box for a couple minutes and you're good. In Spain, they know they're untouchable. Yeah. And I always believe that if we allowed fighting, not only would that regulate the game way more, but it also helped with the whole situation with fans. not just in Spain, but for all roller hockey in America. That's a huge
I
selling
agree.
point for ice hockey. And roller hockey, it's a sport that doesn't have the physical side of it, and I think that is leaving a lot of fans off the table. And I don't know. I think fighting's a cool part of hockey. It's a historic tradition, and I hate to see it leaving the game slowly in ice hockey. I know it's not part of roller, but I really think fighting should be part of roller.
Well, I mean, it's like you said, if the players can kind of regulate the game, then the fighting will happen, but it's not like it's going to be constantly. I mean, maybe some
Exactly.
leagues, like you said, it will happen, but you have these guys who are getting crazy with their sticks in roller because they know they
Exactly.
can, like you said. And
Yeah,
because
I
there's
mean,
no
of
hitting.
course. There's going to be fights, of course, that have nothing to do with regulation. Once you allow fighting, of course, that's the other side of it. That is the con. But in my opinion, it's worth it because I've gotten too much cheap shots in Spain, too many players playing with too much confidence that I'm just like shaking my head like if only this was fucking ice hockey, like I would like because out there I'm kind of I'm kind of a larger fella.
Yeah.
I'm 5'10", 180 pounds. In the States, I'm a small ice hockey player. In Europe, ice hockey, I'm one of the smallest guys on the team. But in roller hockey in Spain, people in Spain are a bit shorter than the average European. The average height for a male in Spain is like 5'8", around there. So I feel kind of tough out there, and sometimes I'd like to use it.
Well, it sucks too because like you can't even bump into someone because they're like, yeah, you're getting a penalty.
Dude, they call everything. It's so
Yeah.
annoying.
Well, and I think that also goes into the guys that you're saying is that are getting away with these kind of cup checks and cheap shit behind the play, right? Is you can't even go and like pin them on the boards and like tell them like cut the shit because then one you'll get a penalty and two, like you're saying, you might even just get a game suspension for it too.
Yeah, the only thing you can do is talk shit, and even after a couple words, the ref's like, "Hey, chill, chill." So like, they do this shit, but like, I don't want to talk shit because I got to talk in Spanish, and like, in the heat of the moment, it's like you're not always thinking clearly in your second language, and I'd rather just punch you in the face. Sends a message way better than speaking my broken Spanish in a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to think about what that would look like, bringing a little bit more aggression back into roller, and especially if you started it here in the States and let it kind of try to bleed over there if it would. How much do you think that would change the standard play of roller in the States of going and setting up behind the net, kind of hiding? If people started fighting people and roller here, do you think that someone would go set up behind the net and someone would just go grab them and
Dude,
beat the
I
shit
would
out of them?
literally, if I saw a dude sitting behind the net for more than 5 seconds, I would back up and then I would just skate full speed and Superman dive over the goalie and just grab him. That shit was pissing me off so much at Narch this weekend, and I totally forgot about that because I haven't been there in many years. They don't really set up behind the net in Europe. The rinks are really small, so you can kind of just chase a guy out of the net, and your next guy's already on him.
Yeah.
Of course, people use the net to kind of stop for a second, and you're in front. You're playing a little cat and mouse, but they don't sit there, right? We had this one game in Narch this week, and I don't remember who it was against, but they killed like 10 minutes off the clock just by standing behind the net. Like this one kid was just sitting there. He was like, 18 years old. And then, after like 10 seconds, the ref goes like, move it. And then he literally just skates like to the corner, but then his buddy goes behind the net and then he passes it to his buddy behind the net. And then his buddy sits there for 10, 20 seconds. The ref's like, move it. And then they skate up, 10 feet and then they just cut back behind the net. And they did that for like 10 minutes. And dude, in my head, I was like, dude, this is so fucking lame.
Yeah, I didn't catch all the games, but I watched a couple with the Canadian teams playing, and I know that's not really in their mindset to play that way. Do you think that having the full rink here in the States is good, or do you think that the United States should embrace smaller rinks?
I don't think. I mean, I like the bigger rink for my speed for sure. Because in Europe, I'm not as effective speed wise. I had to learn how to get better at shooting and just coming in and shooting through traffic, which did end up benefiting me coming back to the States. But I love how in the States I have like all that extra room to. Hold on, I'm gonna plug my phone in. I have all that extra room to skate. The only downside, I guess, is players just holding the puck all the time. But
Yeah. Did you feel
yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Dan.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, the European leagues are just constantly moving, so there's action all the time, right? So there's just constant shots, and so it is complete polar opposite of North American roller hockey. And so, like, I mean, how do you have to like mentally adjust yourself for it, or like, well, when you came back and played in Narch, I mean, was it just like I'm just gonna play, or was it kind of like a little culture shock for playing European roller for so long?
I mean, yeah, it's been 5 or 6 years straight of European roller without any American roller in the mix. It was not a shock, but the main thing that I just kind of forgot about was how a lot of teams have that style of just killing the clock and holding the puck, and it's just like, it's frustrating, but to win games, I get it, but it's just like for me, it's not the most respectable way to win. Even though I get it, you want to win, so it's fine or whatever. But it's just like as a player on the other side, it's like so frustrating, and you need a goal and they're just holding it and there's nothing you can really do. But yeah, it's part of the game. I think that was like the main thing that I wasn't used to. Also the hitting. I forgot in Narcs you can bang bodies against the boards.
Oh, yeah.
Totally forgot about that. Some kid like sent me into the boards in like my first game, and I was like looking at the ref like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh yeah, you can do that. So that was cool. The nets being bigger was I haven't shot on American size net in many years, so that I think ended up helping me because the
Tucked a
nets in
couple
Europe
high.
are about
Yeah.
The nets in Europe are about 6 inches shorter and also more narrow, and the posts are much more fat. So I noticed I was seeing a lot more net.
Okay.
That's got to be a nice feeling.
Yeah, and shooting on a small net for so many years, it actually really helps you because you have to learn how to find the pockets because there's a lot less net when you see a goalie in the European net, and it really helps you develop your accuracy. So I think that actually was a positive returning to Narch.
Okay.
Did you end up embracing the physicality after that first game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a physical roller player. I'm not banging bodies or anything, but I got used to it after a couple of games of like people trying to hit me along the boards and shit.
Very cool.
I can't remember your schedule. Did you guys play Black Ice at all?
Yeah, we played Black Ice the first game.
Well, and that's what I thought because I couldn't remember. But if you're playing against PJ DiMartino, you're getting banged.
Yeah, he does that.
That man loves putting people into the boards.
I don't think he put me into the boards though. I wasn't getting hit too much, to be honest. I only got hit like twice the whole tourney.
You're too slippery.
Yeah, I'm a little slippery out there. I'm like a salamander, bro. I'm just fucking. I'm slimy. It's hard to get me.
Oh.
Well, you're talking about when you're in the season, you guys are skating a bunch, you're practicing a bunch. What are those practices like?
The first 10 minutes is just, a couple warm-up drills to get the goalies going, and then after that it's different every day, but we'll sometimes, bring one net over and play like half rink 3-on-3 or 2-on-2, like little mini games. Just try to get better in tight areas because a lot of European rinks are small, so we do a lot of tight area games, quick shots, stuff like that. And then, yeah, we'll do some like 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, pretty standard stuff, and then finish the trainings with a scrimmage every single time. And then Wednesdays is just like strictly scrimmage day. We just play a full on game, like however long the games are. And like we do like, 220s or whatever it is in Spain. So we just do that for practice. And we'd have like a battle between the guys, between the two lines. Every Wednesday, whoever wins, we put like a mark on it. And then at the end of the season, whoever won like the Wednesday battles gets like a case of beer or whatever it was.
Oh,
hell
sick.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you do kind of for your off ice training? Do you do anything else? Like,
Yeah, just like, rip ciggies and burritos and
Nice.
hell yeah.
nah, off ice training, we do like before every single training we have like off ice. So some days it's plyometrics, some days it's like calisthenics, and well, it's 4 or 5 days a week. At least 3 days a week it's just weightlifting. Legs one day, we bring out the weights. We have like a shopping cart, like a grocery store shopping cart full of like weights and plates, and we bring them out, we set them up just outside of our rink. We don't have like a gym there. And we do bench press and tries and buys, and then one day will be like abs, and then the next day will be like legs, and then like the day before the game will be like maybe like a light stretch, stuff like that.
It's cool.
Yeah.
What else are you doing physical wise? Like, are you out there doing anything else other than hockey?
Yeah, so in the Canary Islands where we're located, there's a lot of surfing, and it's the surf capital of Europe.
Hell
It's
yeah.
yeah, I mean it's kind of like Hawaii is to the States, it's a couple hours by plane to the mainland, chain of islands, tons of waves and good surfing, some world-class waves. And a lot of the players on our team are actually playing there because that is the attraction. They get to surf. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with surfers or surf culture, but surfers love surfing more than hockey players love hockey. Like they're legit crackheads.
Yeah.
They'll just bail on any plan if there's waves, like it could be anything. You could literally have like a planned dinner and then they won't show up and you're like, sorry, man, it was pumping. And you're just like, dude. So we have like 3 or 4 like really diehard like surfer guys on our team. And then there's like me and Kevin Mooney and like one other guy where like we get out there and have fun with the boys on like regular days, but we don't, I'm not a guy that goes out there a lot during the winter when it's cold and the conditions are like big waves with a lot of power. That's like the real surfers kind of thing. I don't consider myself a real surfer. I like to dabble in it, during the summertime before it gets too cold. Not the weather. The weather's always warm, but the ocean gets cold in the winter. Me and Kevin will get out there like, twice a week with the boys and go out there surfing, and it's fun and whatnot. So that's like our main physical activity outside of hockey.
Well, I mean, surfing's not easy.
It's not, man. It's very humbling. It's very, very, very difficult sport. I mean, I had, growing up in Southern California, I'm not a stranger to it. Everyone did it growing up here, or at least tried it, and I was one of the guys who tried it. And every time I tried it, I was like, "What the fuck? Fuck this! I'm gonna stick to hockey." And then the next summer, your friends are like, "Hey, we're going out. Like, let's grab our boards and go." It's like, "All right, let's go." And then you go out, and you just get fucked up again, and then you're like, "Dude, okay, you don't do it for." I was always like that. I would go once or twice a summer, try to get into it, and just get fucking pumped every time. And I'd be like, "Dude, this sport is." People don't realize, like, then you just go out there and catch waves, right? You got to get out there first.
Yeah.
You don't realize if you've ever been surfing, if it's like a good sized day or strong, getting out there and just ducking under the wave, and then the waves keep coming. It's literally water pushing you to the beach, and you're trying to push out. The upper body shoulder workout, after, a couple minutes, it starts to burn. So then you start giving up, and you're like, I can't paddle anymore. But the second you stop paddling, it starts pushing you closer to shore. So it's like, and then some of the waves are coming in and they're landing right on your head. So you're getting fucking tossed around and fucked up, and then you got to find your board again. And it's like, it's a very humbling sport.
Is there anything from surfing that you feel like carries over to hockey? Something that you've learned from surfing that affects your hockey?
Nah, not really, because I'm not surfing that much, to be honest.
All right.
Yeah, I was gonna ask something similar because I was gonna say like bouncing on the board and staying on the board. Like, you think it would have any translation over to like skating and edge work and stuff like that?
I'm sure the guys who are like, surfing every day, they find some lessons in it. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a nice escape. When you get out there in the water, it's kind of like meditative, and it's kind of like stepping on the floor for hockey, but in like a more natural way. Obviously, you're connected to Mother Nature more. Yeah, it's really nice.
No,
Yeah, instead of getting pummeled by waves at 19, you're getting pummeled by goons in the NA.
Exactly, dude. And I would take goons every day over waves. I've almost died out there in the ocean, man. The ocean is a very scary place.
Yeah,
and
dude, I've tried surfing once.
It's not a safe sport. If you don't know what you're doing, it can be very dangerous. There's rip currents, and you don't realize your only line of safety is your board, which is connected to a fucking leash, which is slimmer than your pinky. And when the wave crashes and it pulls your board and it yanks on your leg, over time it's very common for your leash to snap. And when your leash snaps, you're in the fucking ocean alone, and you're out past the swimming point, right? Because the surfing point is you go out past, where people swim, and you go to where the waves are breaking. It's not easy to get into the shore from out there because there's fucking rips. And that's how surfers die all the time, is because they're just tired of trying to swim to the shore, and they're stuck in a rip, and they don't have their board anymore, and they just drown, right? That's shit scary as hell.
Yeah, I'll stay in the dry land.
Right? And then you got sharks and jellyfish and rocks, and there's so much shit that can go wrong. I respect that sport so much.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I would say being humbled is the main lesson I learned from it.
Definitely fair.
Yeah.
I was all I did was skimboard when I was younger.
Face plant into the sand.
Oh yeah.
The classic, just running full speed, drop the board. Right when you put your feet on, the board just gets stuck and you go forward. Who hasn't lived that experience?
If they haven't, they should.
Yeah, I remember. You guys are probably like similar in age to me. I remember growing up when the skimboard fad took over.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big thing there for a couple summers.
Yeah.
I would say, what years was that? Like early 2000s?
Yeah.
MTV
2005,
time.
2008, somewhere around there. I don't really remember.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and being from Jersey too, like they don't have crazy waves, so like no one's really surfing on the beaches over there. Yeah, you have the ocean, whatever, but it's nothing anywhere like Cali, right? And so
they do got some surf there though when there's a swell.
Yeah. You get the crazy people that are like, "Oh, hurricane's coming! Let's get out to the beach."
Yeah.
But
so you guys skimboard a lot there.
Yeah, a lot of people just grab their skimboard, and because some of the beaches just aren't well maintained either in Jersey, so or they're
you guys have like tons of beaches though, right?
Yeah, but in the summer they're just jam packed with New Yorkers.
Yeah, goddamn New Yorkers. You guys hate New Yorkers?
Yeah, they clog up our interstates.
Just like we hate people from LA and San Diego.
There you go.
Yeah.
I heard you guys got the good pizza in New Jersey.
New Jersey, New York, man, nothing beats it. Now the
just
people
from slice.
Yeah, people from Chicago will be like, "Oh, Chicago deep dish." It's like, keep your deep dish, man.
I don't even know what the fuck is deep dish. Is it just like a thick crust?
If you've ever you've had lasagna before, right?
Yeah, I think I know what deep dish is. Like I've seen it in like a DiGiorno package or something.
It's just a square pizza, but it's super thick.
That sounds awful. I don't want that. I want my pizza to be nice and thin.
Crispy.
Yeah, European style.
They got good pizza over there in Spain?
Yeah, of course, man. All over Europe, they have Italian, like real Napolitan style pizza, which is basically just, very thin crust. And yeah, it's great. It's just Italians from all over. Italians just kind of live everywhere in Europe, just like they do in the States. They're just everywhere. And all the pizzerias in Spain, it's just like opened by real Italians, like from Naples or from Rome. And they're making the same shit they would make back home. And it's fucking delicious, man. I really love it.
Now, besides pizza, what's your go-to meal in Spain?
I thought you were gonna say in general, because I'm from San Diego and we be killing the Mexican food down here. That's what we're famous for, and that's my go-to favorite in California. But in Spain, yeah, probably my go-to meal. Dude, probably the pizza.
Yeah.
It's very like we got everything that we have here in the States now. The world has gotten very small in the last 20 years and very internationalized.
It's kind of sad.
It is kind of sad though. You can't just go to a small Greek village now and just get every restaurant is just only Greek food. It's like you show up and there's a fucking smash burger place below your Airbnb.
I know, dude. I hate that personally.
And they bring out your smash burger and there's like a fucking knife going right through the middle, and it's like everything has just gotten gentrified and internationalized. I'm on the Canary Islands, a chain of islands off the coast of Morocco, and in my neighborhood we got a Subway, a KFC, a McDonald's, a Taco Bell, 4 pizzerias, fucking smash burger joints, poke, acai bowls. If you want to find, like, when people visit, my friends from family from the States, like, oh, I want to try some Spanish food, I'm like, I have to look on Google Maps for a Spanish traditional restaurant because I don't even know where the fuck you can find that. It's almost like it is a bummer. It's almost like the native foods of a lot of these European countries have completely died, and there's the restaurants that keep them open is strictly for like tourist reasons. Like, hey, try traditional. Obviously, Italian food is everywhere, but like if you go to a country like, Ukraine, you're gonna want to, or like, I was in Bulgaria, and I had to Google like traditional Bulgarian food, and I had to walk like 20 minutes to a place that was the closest to me because everywhere else was just, pizza, burgers, sandwiches, just the classics that you can find everywhere in the world now. Kind of sad, but also kind of nice for a Western person to have the convenience of, American boy ripping a burger wherever I want.
slinging down some Taco Bell and then regretting it later.
Dude, I slanged some down at Narch 3 a.m. before my final day.
How'd that go?
Well, it was the day. It was right after I played that Canadian team actually, and then I thought the tournament was over because we were like not in playoffs. So I was at the beer garden. I was like ripping a couple beers, and I was starting to get like hungry from after you have a couple beers and play hockey, and then there was a game going on, and in that game, some things needed to happen for us to get invited to the play-in game. Yeah. And those things ended up happening, and I guess they weren't supposed to happen. And we were kind of like, oh, fuck, we're playing tonight at we had like an 11:30 game, and we were in the beer garden at like 8. So like, oh, fuck, we got another game. It was against OC Blades. And if we won, we would have made it into playoffs. So, fuck, we lost, and then went to the beer garden again, and then by that point I just played 2 games, had a bunch of beers, and I was just like so fucking hungry, and I was driving home to my buddy's place in Irvine. It was like we left the beer garden at like 2:30 in the morning, and I just see this lit up place on the side of the road, and it was fucking Taco Bell in all her glory. Pulled up, copped the beefy 5-layer burrito. Just back home, just laying on my buddy's bed, ripping a fucking Taco Bell burrito. Like, what the fuck? That's nice.
Yeah.
That's road
like
hockey,
that.
man. A greasy sport.
That's greasy sport.
You're not even showered. You're just fucking. You're in the Taco Bell drive-through, sweating like a pig, smelling like just the worst smell ever because there's no showers at the rink, and you're like, yeah, let me get a beefy 5. It's just disgusting. You know, no birds are attracted to that. That's why it's just such a great tournament for the fellas, you know.
It's just about the boys at that point.
I don't know how some guys invite their girlfriends to the tournaments. My girlfriend would break up with me instantly.
Oh, dude.
She'd be like, I've never seen you this level of disgusting until.
I like that.
Yeah.
That is roller hockey. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, East Coast, you guys play in some of your places are like ice rinks, so they have like locker rooms with showers. But out here, bro, it's just outdoor rinks, no showers, never. Terrible.
Nah, I complain about that all the time, actually.
Oh, so you have that problem where you're at?
Yeah, our rink, the one main rink, it's like the only dual sheet for a while near us, which is still from us is like 3.5 hours, is in Atlanta. And so they have dual sheets, but they don't have showers. They got locker rooms, but they don't have showers.
Why is that a thing in roller hockey? Why is that a thing?
The same reason they don't give us money for other reasons.
I guess, but fucking like it's a facility. Like, how does a facility legally not have a shower?
I agree. The legality should be brought into it. It should be illegal to not have a shower.
We should take this to court, boys.
I already said I'm going to start a petition.
Imagine if we did that and we like saved the roller hockey world. We'd be like looked at as gods.
It's all right.
You can be our spokesperson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every shower can have no Offsides podcast logo on the fucking door.
Yeah. Love it.
That's what we'll do with any proceeds. If we ever end up with any proceeds, we'll donate showers to every facility.
Wait, going back a second, you said the closest rink to you is in Atlanta and you live in New Jersey?
No. So we both live in North Carolina now.
Oh, all right.
So the closest rink that's indoor that has tournaments that run out of it is in Atlanta.
Damn. When I was growing up, we were talking about it earlier. We used to go down to Greensboro or Raleigh area, and they had a rink there.
They still have the rink, but because it's the one in Apex, and so it was a dual sheet with a soccer rink in the middle of it. Then they closed down one of the rinks and made it 2 soccer and one and did lacrosse on as well. So they still have one sheet, but it's the roller scene kind of died in North Carolina.
Damn, that's sad.
There are 0 colleges with roller hockey.
Yeah, there's not like travel clubs.
Not really. Raleigh was the big hub for roller hockey, and it kind of died. But now it's starting to come back a little bit.
One of the sickest teams growing up was the Greensboro Generals. They were sick. They were so good. They were one of the best teams on the whole East Coast. They would be at all the tournaments against Tour Breakaway, Philadelphia Revolution, Black Ice. Greensboro Generals were right up there with the top dogs, and there was a gang of kids from North Carolina. They were nasty.
Yeah,
maybe we can bring it back.
Yeah, like our rink is outside asphalt, so we got to deal with the elements and bouncing pucks, and it's fun.
That's
a lot
crazy.
of fun. But the last college team in North Carolina for roller hockey was probably, gosh, I don't know how old those guys are. It's been a bit. They played out of ECU. And,
why do you guys live in North Carolina?
Good question, man.
No, I don't mean that in a way of like, why the fuck do you live there then? I mean, like, you guys, like, how'd you end up there? I'm just curious.
My wife went for a master's here, so I ended up moving here, and it's cheaper than Jersey, so.
Yeah.
Probably
what about you?
I moved all over. I was from Michigan originally. I moved to Colorado, Arizona, and then ended up here. Was working at a ski resort for a while, and then now I'm just here.
And you guys just connected through the roller community there?
Yeah.
Is it pretty small community?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have there's like 166 adult members in our league. We got 3 divisions, so
Okay, and your league is on that asphalt place though?
yeah.
Are you guys in Raleigh?
No, we're out in Asheville in the west side in the mountains.
Oh, in the west side.
Almost
so that's a couple
Tennessee.
hours from Raleigh. Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys don't have any kind of sport court situation there?
There is one like
an.
we're working. We have a rink, but we're working on it. But the closest rink's in like a little over an hour away, but there is no roller scene out of it because it's so expensive to rent the rink that no one wants to fork over the money. And also,
so what are you guys going to do?
Well, our league bought a rink that closed down, so we have a rink with boards and tile and goal. We have goals and everything. We just can't find a building to put it in.
Okay, so you have the tile and you have the boards, you have everything you need. So you guys just need a building.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the current mission.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So you guys are like looking in Asheville, like industrial areas to.
Yep.
Damn. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
And it's such a touristy like destination area here that real estate's kind of crazy here. So we have to like look on the out. Yeah, we got to look.
I've never heard anyone say, "Let's go to Asheville."
Listen, it was the beer capital of the world for a few years.
No offense.
No, it's cool.
I heard North Carolina in general. I mean, I've been there when I was really young, but I know North Carolina, the Carolinas in general are popping off as of lately, real estate wise, and a lot of people are moving there. I mean, I know it's beautiful. It's, East Coast. They both the Carolinas. There's beaches and it's good weather. I'm pretty sure my grandpa just moved there from Florida. I've heard great things about the Carolinas.
Yeah, well, if we ever get the dream of a nice sports facility where we can put up 3 rinks and host a tournament, maybe we can get you and some of these pro teams out here.
I mean, as long as you guys got a shower in the facility, I'm there.
You think, dude, I won't let it happen. I won't let there not be a shower.
Listen,
if you do let it happen, there'll be some legal issues popping up. I'll have to speak with my lawyer and file a lawsuit.
We're on the same side with this.
Justin, there'll at least be a hose, right?
There's always a hose, man. I always find the hose.
Yeah, the hose is cool. The hose will do.
All right, man. We'll let you get out of here. But before we let you go, is there anything that we didn't touch on? Anything that you feel like we should have been talking about?
No, I mean, if you guys have more questions, feel free to ask them. If not, I don't have anything to say.
All right. Well, we'll definitely keep in touch, man, because we want to dive deper into like European scene and get a little more knowledge through the leagues and stuff like that. So we'll definitely be in touch with you. But yeah, man, we appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, boys, thanks for having me. I had a good time. You guys are beauties.
Yeah, it was definitely fun.
Yeah, man.
And so if you're watching or listening, make sure you follow us either on Spotify or on YouTube. Leave a comment. And if you're forechecking roller hockey, dole it up because there's no offsides. I'm Dan Dean.
I'm Justin Wood.
Chucky, thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, cheers, boys.
Peace.
Peace.
No offside.